Welcome to Confessions by Banana Ketchup. I always had encounters my whole life. I got used to them growing up, but one encounter I had, ongoing for months, left me shaken, scared, and I'll never mess with antique furniture again. A little background. Back in 2010, I started refurbishing antique furniture. I made a killing off it, and I loved a great find. Fast forward to 2015. I had my ex-husband drive about 1.5 hours to pick up two very old vanities I found on a Facebook PST. I bought them both for $100. Steal, right? Yes, until no. I typically get right on my projects and finish them within 24 to 72 hours depending on how much TLC my pieces need. Well, for some odd reason, I just flat out don't feel like working on my two new glorious, gorgeous finds. I just wanted them to sit there. They were already beautiful, perfectly flawed. As days turned into weeks, I started getting really irritable, angry, short-tempered, all of the above, depressed. I stopped playing with my daughter. I began getting late to work. I just was a complete mess. My ex never said a word to me about my ill behavior. Then my daughter, being almost 3 at the time, started talking about the white lady who would stand in the corner of her room and stare at her, sometimes would sit on her bed. I did notice her room felt heavy in there, but I just brushed it off, her imagination leaking into mine. Then, one night, my ex and I heard my daughter run across the house to get to our room. Crawl space under the floor, we hear all footsteps. But as our daughter got to our door, she couldn't open it, so my ex decided to get up to open the door for her. Well, as he opened the door, we then heard her door slam at the same time, and we saw her door hanger knocking against her door. So we decided to go check on her. This is where things got chilling. She was sound asleep in her bed, and what gave it away that she never got up is she was still tucked in. She always sleeps with a pillow on top of her, under the blankets for extra comfort. It was all still in perfect placement. No way a 2-year-old placed a body pillow back on top of her and tucked her blanket around herself so neatly. Moving on, strange things start happening. Cabinets left open, doors open, water dripping, etc. Classic paranormal movie type stuff. My moods just got worse and worse as now months have gone by. Then, one night, I was home alone. My parents had my daughter. My ex-husband was with his study group, college at the time, and I had to get up and go pee. Okay, I walked to my bathroom. I tried to turn on the light. It wouldn't come on. Okay, breaker blown. Sure. Breaker is in my daughter's closet. So as I walk out of the bathroom, head to my master door, which leads to the living room, a major force hits me. And I can't make this up. I black out. I don't know how long I was out, but when I woke up, my throat was sore and bruised. Every light, fan, appliance, TV, static, water faucets were on. All my cabinets were open, everything, and I was so scared. I started crying. And the next day, we decided to get rid of those vanities. After that, nothing happened again, and my daughter stopped talking about the white lady. She still remembers her to this day though. And there's much more that happened in those months, but nothing that compared to that night. I don't ever want to experience anything like that again, so no more antique furniture for me. I lived a real-life haunting, and it took a huge toll on my mental health. Thank you, Liquid Metals, the author. Completely clueless. About 10 years ago, when I was in 5th grade, my school had an annual field trip for the patrols. We got to go to a fair for an entire day and have a big lunch with everyone that was a patrol. The place where we went was probably reserved for us patrols because every elementary school in the county took their patrols for the same field trip. Anyway, my friends and I all signed up to be a patrol and had some fun until we all had lunch. I finished my lunch first and ran to the games that were at the fair. I raced down the hill to the games, and when I got down there, someone called me by my name. We are going to use Juan since I don't want to give out my real name. So this white kid who had reddish hair, seemed about my age, comes up to me and says, "Juan?" I respond, "Oh, yeah." He says, "It is you. Hey everyone, Juan is here." As he said that, about 6-7 kids come and all seem to recognize me somehow. I have decent memory when it comes to remembering faces, and I did not recognize a single one of them. So they all begin talking to me and say stuff like, "Juan, it's been so long. Where have you been, man?" I continue to question them. How do you guys know me? And who are you guys? The first kid that came up to me and replies, "And you don't remember me? It's me, Constance." Everyone else begins to tell me their names, but I forgot them. So they begin to ask me about my older brother. He's 3 years older than me and is in 8th grade. They told me how he ditched them once when they hang out and they never heard from him again. I was sort of confused since I didn't know that my brother had a group of friends that I wasn't aware of, especially a group around my age. I was already creeped out. However, what really got me was when they began naming my country of origin and the damn city where I was from. I didn't even remember the name of the city where I was from. This Constance kid was pronouncing the name of the city well, as if he were Hispanic, which sort of surprised me since he was white. I don't want to be racist, it's just uncommon to see someone white with a Hispanic accent. So, as 5th grade, me attempts to rationalize this slowly, but I couldn't seem to connect the dots. One of my friends catches up to me and asks me who are my new friends. I tell him I have no idea who they are or how the hell they know so much about me. The kids all explained to me how they were all friends with my older brother back in my country of origin and how they went to school with him. We came to the US about 4 years before that, so they must have been to elementary school or kindergarten with my brother. But how are they in the same grade as me and on this field trip? My other friends caught up to me and I wanted to have fun, so I was going to make sure to ask my older brother if he had a group of friends and if he knew a Constance with a pretty detailed description of his appearance. Throughout the field trip, I came across Constance and his group of friends, sometimes while I was waiting in line for a fair game or when I was simply walking around with my friends. Throughout the entire field trip, I was baffled and just hoped to get a rational explanation from my brother, telling me something like, "Yeah, I know him." I was actually sort of afraid because the information he knew about me was too accurate. When the field trip ended, there was a giant parking lot filled with buses, and my bus was in a spot where I would have a clear vision of everyone that came into their bus. Since the buses have a label of what school they are from, I at least wanted to know what school he was from, or at the very least, one of the friends that Constance was hanging out with. I waited and waited. My bus did not leave. It was actually one of the last buses to leave. He was nowhere to be seen, as well as his friends. When I got home, the first thing that I did was ask my brother if he knew any Constance from our country. He said no. I gave him a detailed description of the kid and tried to describe his friend group as much as I possibly could. The closest person to his description was someone from his kindergarten. Luckily, he had a picture of their graduating class. Since my brother went to a private school in our country, the class was quite small. I looked and there was no Constance. Even if he was there, it wouldn't explain how he was at the field trip, which was only for 5th graders, when this Constance kid was presumably in 8th grade. Nothing added up. I even asked my mom if my brother hung out with any white kid back in my country, and she said no. I have so many damn questions about this experience, and every time I tell anyone, my friends just tell me it was a prank, or maybe it really was a forgotten long-time friend that somehow ended up in the same state that my brother and I were in. Also, why didn't I see him or his friends where everyone was entering their school buses? I know I didn't dream of it because my other friends who saw them remembers the experience clearly. How did he recognize me so well too? He must have met me to differentiate me from my brother, because we have been told we look alike. The only explanation in my head is that Constance somehow hopped parallel universes, where my brother actually went to school with him, and he met me, which was how he was able to recognize me. But how did he know where I was from and the city? I'm telling you, my country has really weird names for its cities, and he pronounced it perfectly. I just need an explanation or something to put this mystery to rest. Thank you, Yawning Kangaroo 665, the author. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you already haven't, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any new episodes. See you again soon, and until then, please, be safe.